Today, on October 5th, 2018, Susan Collins, the senator from Maine and my home state, which is why I'm reporting this, also because it's big news, but I've got some home pride I have to defend here. Susan Collins was one of the moderate votes that was going to be a swing vote and pretty determinant on whether Kavanaugh is appointed or not. And as of today, at 3 p.m., when she gave her speech on the Senate floor, she announced that she would come in full support of Brett Kavanaugh for the October 6th election of Kavanaugh by the Senate. So this is quite interesting, and this highlights why Susan Collins is not the best representative for Maine. You see, Susan Collins has always been well liked, and she's been in politics forever, since like 1997, I think, was when she was a senator. So she's been here for quite a while in Maine. She's quite establishment. And this is quite interesting because now it seems like, as all things do, her moment seems to be dying off as Maine voters are coming out quite hostile, especially the more left-leaning ones, because back in her race in 2014 when she was reelected, 30% of Democrats voted for her, and this is because she is first off pro-choice, which means that she can get the female vote pretty easily with that, especially being a moderate Republican, probably the farthest left Republican we have in the Senate. And there's been a lot of complaints about Susan Collins now because of her support of Kavanaugh. Many people think that Brett Kavanaugh will be one of the key factors of overturning Roe v. Wade. Now, I personally don't think that's true, but many people do, and that's what really matters, is the majority of people's opinion. And this has become evident by the fact that around $2 million has been raised as essentially the people blackmailing Susan Collins into voting no for Brett Kavanaugh. And now that she said she's going to vote yes, this money is presumed to go to the Democrat nominee for her re-election of 2020. So that means that Susan Collins, this may be her last couple years of the Senate, especially if this Democrat, whoever is running in the Democratic ticket for 2020, could be a hardline progressive. That would especially be quite amazing. I'd encourage any Democrats in Maine, if you're a progressive and wanting to run, this is quite an easy chance for you to beat Susan Collins. So, coming back to Brett Kavanaugh, it is now essentially going to be guaranteed, unless any opinions change within the next 24 hours, that Brett Kavanaugh is going to be confirmed, which is quite unfortunate, especially since during the vote to actually get him to be pushed to a final vote, Lisa Murkowski, the Republican from Alaska, who is also considered one of the swing votes, along with Susan Collins, Jeff Flake, and Joe Manchin. She was the only swing vote that seemed to vote no against Brett Kavanaugh, and she did so during the second to last voting session, so that was going to be kind of a hope there. There is some sort of hope that Brett Kavanaugh wouldn't be appointed. But now, as Susan Collins has come out, and Jeff Flake, and even Joe Manchin, the sole Democrat that is being pushed to vote for Brett Kavanaugh, because he's obviously in a red state, he's going to want to appeal more centrist, but, that always seems to not work out for Democrats, so seeing as how he's one of the most corrupt Democrats, I really do hope that he loses this election, so we can finally root out the corrupt centrist, neoliberal Democrat wing of the party. So, this essentially does mean that Brett Kavanaugh will be appointed probably 51-49. It's quite unfortunate and a shame for Susan Collins, who's been somewhat decent on certain issues, especially in key swing issues, like during the Obamacare repeals back in 2017. Susan Collins was one of the three Republicans, along with Lisa Murkowski herself and the John McCain, who is now deceased. So, this could be the end of Susan Collins, or maybe it won't. Leave your opinion in the comments below.